Hey, how's it going? So today in this video, what I'm going to be going through is how to connect Calendly with your Airtable CRM. I'm going to be adding three different things. The first one is a new contact. The second one is a new company. And then the third one is a new opportunity at that company. So those are the three things that I'm going to be going through and setting that up in Zapier. So connecting Calendly with Airtable using Zapier. And so if you haven't met me before, well, my name is bengreen. If you haven't met me and what I do is help business owners implement technology to easier scale their business. So I'll actually be showing you the Calendly form down in the description that you'd be able to book in your call with me or someone on my team. Without further ado, I'm going to jump right into the video now so I can show you how to connect Calendly with Airtable. So what I already have set up here and just pulled up is Zapier. So this right here is Zapier. And then in the background, I have an Airtable CRM. So just to take a quick little tour of this CRM is we have opportunities, interactions, accounts, and contacts. So primarily what we're going to be dealing with are these contacts and accounts. So you'll see here contacts. We have the name of the contact, what account they're linked to, whether or not they're VIP, email, phone, title, all the basic stuff. And then for accounts, what we have the name of the account, the industry, the size, the company website, all this fun stuff. And then the account is linked to the contact through a linked record, just the same as the contact is linked to the account through a linked record. And then also the opportunities are linked to, wait for it, an account. So contacts are linked to an account. So the structure is one account can have many contacts. One account could also have many opportunities, but one opportunity should be only linked to one account and one contact should be only linked to one account. So that's like the lingo that I'll use. That's the ERD is what I call it. And at the end of the video, I'm going to go more in depth about how this works to avoid duplicates. So stick around for that. So now what I'm going to go into is how we connect Zapier through this. And actually, let's just show the Calendly form. So if I go to my website, so let's open up this. The website looks like this. And so there's an email opt-in, which I would send through separately. This is using Softer, but there's an email opt-in, and anywhere on here, you can click the link here and put in your email and it takes you to this page. So now you've seen the behind the scenes, you know you could just type in this page and avoid giving me your email. But basically we have this 30-minute call and we ask all these questions. Now, another thing that I'm going to be going into is the uniqueness of these questions. So if you have different forms for this, then you would want to be very careful about how you send information through. So, and what I'm talking about there is about with different Calendly events. So I'm going to fill out this form once with just myself, and then I'm going to show you how that translates into Airtable. So the reason why I'm filling it out once is because I want to have a trigger so that I can use that in Zapier, because I need to have a trigger where a new event is scheduled and then it will send it to everything else. So that's how all these automations work, because there's a trigger, then there's an action. So we're like going to have the trigger in Calendly, a new invitee was created. And then in Airtable, well, using Zapier, but in Airtable, we're going to find or create a contact, find or create an account, find or create an opportunity. So that's everything we're going to do. So briefly describe your business. So biz description. How did you hear about us? Everybody, for me, nearly everybody hears about me through YouTube. If it's not a referral, that at one point came from YouTube. So now I'm going to schedule this event right here. And I'll probably get a Slack message because this happens pretty fast with my actual CRM. That's a live example of that. So now I have Slack closed out. Okay, so now in Zapier, I want to add a new Zap. So if you haven't signed up for Zapier yet, you're going to want to sign up for an account with Zapier. And then now what we're going to do is connect these two apps. So over here on the left, we'll type in Calendly. And this is just on the dashboard. I could also just hit this create Zap thing up here. So just hit the plus and we're going to pick our trigger. And there's one very important thing that you don't want to miss. And that's with the second action, because you're going to have the same trigger for any Calendly event. So here, Calendly, the trigger is an invitee was created. We can get into canceled later on, but really this video is just going to be about creating new events, creating new opportunities, contacts, companies in Airtable. So a new invitee was created, and I'm thinking about this. Okay. So a new invitee was created, continue, and then it says sign into Calendly. So I should already have an account connected, although I believe I need to go re-up my account. So Calendly released a new connection, so I'm going to go sign into Calendly. And I'm going to go log in and get my API key. So this right here will explain how to get your API key, but I'm going to pause the video and then come back after I get my API key from Calendly. So just follow the instructions right here and you'll be able to do the same. All right, so I just went and connected my Calendly. So now I just put in the API key and then it popped up with this. So I'm going to hit continue and then test the trigger and I should be good to go. So this probably has that event that I just created. Yeah, it says optimizeis, business description, all of those stock question and answers that I filled out. All right, so that's the first thing. So the invitee was created in Calendly. Now what you need to do on every single Zap that you ever have with Calendly is you need to add a filter. So the reason why you need to add a filter is because this is going to send through every single event that you will ever have. So there's nowhere in here where you say, oh, only send through the audit calls. That's not an option. So another thing is I would make sure if you have different versions of your like audit call or your sales call with different questions, maybe you're testing them to see which one people end up filling out the most often. What I would suggest using in this filter is the slug. So you can have the name be the exact same, and maybe you want to do that. So you can have two Calendly events that say the same name, but you have maybe different questions. So you're testing that out. So I would use the slug. And what the slug is like if you open up Calendly. So let me open up the audit call. This slug right here is the 30-minute slug. All right, so now if I go to Zapier, continue, and now let's go down to the filter. So this is what you're going to want to add in every single Calendly Zap, like I just said. So type in slug, and you'll see it said 30-minute there. And then you'll say exactly matches whatever you pasted or whatever you copied. So that is the 30-minute slug. It's what was in that test, because I had tested that right before this so that it would be the most recent Calendly event created for me. Now I'm going to hit continue. So this is perfect. It says your event would have continued, and that's because my slug matched 30-minute. So now what are the next things that I need to do? So if I go back to Airtable, what I need to do, I need to create a contact, create an account, and create an opportunity. But if that contact already exists, I wouldn't want to create a new contact. If that account already exists, I wouldn't want to create a new account, and same goes for opportunity. So I'm going to show you how I walk through each of these in two separate in the same Zap, but testing it twice to show you once somebody's in there, how do we avoid a duplicate? All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a step that's in Airtable, and most of these are going to be find or creates. So if you choose the find, you can read in here, the last sentence says optionally create one if none are found. And I always like renaming these because it makes it a lot easier when you come back. So I'm going to say new contact creation. And actually, let's go with company. Yeah, let's go with company. So the reason why I want to start with company is because if I think about how the relationships between contacts and companies is, it's a lot easier to add linked records to when you're on the one to, or you're on like the many to one side. So one, I'll explain later, but basically you wanted to start out with the company. That way when we add an account, we can just link to the one company if it does not already exist. All right, so let's go with the base. This one is going to be the base right here. So it's going to be sales CRM x Calendly. There's the Calendly. The table is going to be the accounts table. The search by field, we're going to search by the name of the company. The search value, we're going to come in here and try to find optimizeis. So right here, we'll be able to choose optimizeis. We don't need a search formula for this. We're not going to limit it to a view, although that is going to come up later on in the video for one of the other Zaps. And then should this consider to be a success, I don't like that they ordered this way. We should take this out, or it's actually going to take this out because I want to create that company if it does not exist. And then down here, if you just scroll down, you'll remove that field. So now all I really want to do here is add the name. So for the name on an account, it's just this first field. So it's going to be name, and I don't know that we collect anything else other than name. So that's fine. So we'll just choose optimizeis, and that will create the record. Because if we look at, I think I asked for maybe the website, your business website, but a lot of people just put name. I just put name in this example. All right, so now let's test this out. And I don't think there should not be an optimizeis in there, but let's test this in review. So Zap data was found as false, and so that means it added a new record in Airtable. So if I scroll down here, we move this over. Oh, there's optimizeis right here. It's the empty record here. So that's perfect for me. If I had custom fields that asked what industry you're in, what size your company is, and people actually filled it out right, that the company website was this, or the LinkedIn was this, then we would map those directly into those fields in this setup action. So we would have said that the website was the website field, the size was the size field in our Calendly form. All right, so that's a good second step. Now the next step is going to be another Airtable. So this one is also going to be a find record, or find or create. And so if I go through here, add the account, what we're going to do here is we're going to add the contact. So for the contact, the important part is before we added the contact, because one contact should only be linked to one company, is we only link to that one company. If we had done it where we created the company, we might have unlinked or not linked to all of the contacts if we had done this in reverse order. So I'm just going to rename this to new contact. So the base is going to be Calendly. The table is going to be the contacts table. And for this, I always like to use the email field. So if I go back to Airtable, I always, for a contact, like to use email if possible. And I don't think ben@optimizeis.com is an option on here, so it should create somebody. So let's go search for the email. The search value should be the invitee email. We shouldn't need to use search formula. I'm not going to use view, and I'm also going to create somebody if they don't exist yet. So for email, if they don't exist, I'm going to put in my email there. And then let's go back to Calendly so we can see. So we need name, we need to link to the account, and optionally put in a phone number. And that should be pretty much it. So account, this is a linked record. So if you look right here in Airtable, this is a linked record field we're picking from the accounts table. And so we need to insert a record ID there in like the best situation. So that's why we did the company first, is because now we can just put the company record ID in the account. Now another thing that I want to do is put the name. So for name, I'm just going to put bengreen. I think had I split out first name, last name, I could put that into two separate fields, but I don't keep those separate in Calendly. Now I think that should be good. Just double checking here. We have name, account, email, and then phone number. So phone number, I believe I opted in at the bottom. And so for this, to make this easier, I'm just going to type in 7084 because that has my number. If you had a phone number field in addition to that, you could map that in here as well. And then I'm just going to remove those extra fields, press continue, and then test this in review. So now you can see Benjamin Green down here at the bottom is linked to optimizeis. There's my email, there's my phone, there's my name. So that worked beautifully. I love it. It linked to the account. That's perfect. So now the next thing that I'm going to do is create that account. Or not create the account. We already created the account. We created the contact. So now we want to go create a new opportunity. Now, the new opportunity, we're going to do this one a little bit differently. So with this one, we're still going to try to go find a record. So let's find a record in that same base. So we're going to say the Calendly. And we're going to go searching in the opportunities table. Now the search by field, you have to create a few rules around your CRM. You have to create a few assumptions. So one of the assumptions that I'm going to make is that I should only have one opportunity that I'm pursuing at a account at a time. I'm not trying to go after more than one thing. And if it was maybe different departments in a business, I would specify those and consider those different accounts for all intents and purposes on my team. So if I'm only pursuing one at a time, that means if something is currently active, maybe I'm going for a different deal, but I should only ever be talking to one company about one thing that I'm doing. So that's the logic and that's the assumption that I'm going to use here. So how I'm going to do that is I don't care if there's an opportunity closed won or closed lost. All I care about is if there's a opportunity in negotiation, evaluation, proposal, or qualification, then I want to use that and default to that opportunity. But if there's not one in one of those stages, I want to throw one in qualification. So now what I can do is I can create a view of all of these. So I'm going to shrink myself down a little bit more over here. And we're going to say, I always put in dev so that nobody else messes with it. It stands for like developer. Dev, and then Zapier limiter for new opportunities. We're going to make that collaborative, and we're going to add a section. And this one's going to be dev, and this other one is going to be the team views. That way, ideally, nobody on the team messes with my dev views and doesn't mess up any of the zaps. So now we put all of our frequently used ones in there, and we can kind of hide the rest of these. All right, so in the dev view, what we're going to do is just like we said, all we care about is to search in here where the status is any of those first four statuses. So it can't be closed won, can't be closed lost. So it's one of these first four. So to do that, I just right click, add a filter. I'm going to take off this first one. And then status, change this to is any of these first four. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Basically anything other than closed won, closed lost. Now the other thing that we care about is what the account is. So it needs if there already has one that exists, it needs to be in this view, but it also needs to match the same account name. And I'm going to show you why you need to add this field in a second. But one thing you want to do right here is add a lookup field on the account to bring in the account name. So this is perfect. Now we have account and the name from the account, which these look exactly the same, but they're not, from my understanding, in the way Zapier looks at this. So I'm going to add a search by field here in the sales CRM. In opportunities, we're going to search by, and it's probably not in here. Okay, so it is in here right now. If it wasn't in there already, then you would want to click load more. So say you already loaded this and then you go add that lookup field, you just want to hit load more and that field will show up. So for example, I'll add a field to the right here, single line text. Now we have a label. So you don't see it right here. And so you just come back in here, search by field. Okay, now it's already in there. I want to hit that load more button to show you that that works, but we'll just go with name. So now the search value, we're going to use the name from the account. Now, had there already been an opportunity lost or had there already been an opportunity won, we don't want to include those. We want to bring up a new opportunity because somebody is booking a call with us to potentially learn about working together again. And so maybe they already have something and we don't want to override what's in there because we don't want to take them from, say, a later stage back to the initial stage. So if I group this, it's going to go in order. If somebody is already in proposal or evaluation or negotiation, I don't want to send them all the way back to qualification. I just want to confirm that there is at least an opportunity there. But if somebody doesn't exist in any of these, I want to create a new qualification. So I'm going to add this limit to view right here. And I'm going to choose our Zapier limiter for new opportunities. Should this step be considered a success? No. Create a record if it does not exist in that view matching optimizeis. Sweet. So the reason, one thing I didn't close out is the reason why I choose name from account here is because in Airtable, especially in the browser, it's really easy to see this, but it's also easy to see. I'm just going to open up this. I wouldn't add anything in search formula here, but here the company Airtable sees as the record ID. So each record in Airtable has a record ID that's unique. And so in Airtable, what Zapier sees as linked records, from what I remember, it sees this as the linked record of J. Jacobs. So it sees it as like the REC and then like maybe 16 characters or something like that. So optimizeis is never going to match REC and a bunch of characters. So that's why we say look up the name from the account and see if there's anything that matches optimizeis. So now we can find a few fields here that are key for us. So this is a formulated field, so I'm not going to try to override that. Same with this one. The status, we're going to write in qualification here. This is important because this is just going to stay the same for us. And then now in Airtable, we're also going to add priority. If somebody is booking a call with us, I'm going to say that their priority is very high. So I'm again just copying and pasting those to make sure that they exactly match and I don't end up with another option in here. I want to link to the account. And then I'm not going to go through adding all of these fields, but for this, I'm just going to link to the account, which is going to be from that new company creation. And it looks like that should be pretty much it. Now, a lot of these fields in here that you're seeing are reporting fields that I've added in other videos. And at the end, I have a very helpful tip that I'll share and a video that I'll share around how to do a lot of this advanced reporting in Airtable. All right, so now we should be good to go and good to add a new opportunity. So let's go ahead and skip the rest of these, remove these extra fields, and try this out. So we'll press continue, and then we'll test and review this. So you can see opportunity 105, that is not ours, but opportunity 116 right here, this is the one that we just added. So that looks perfect. Again, we could add an estimated value, could add all this stuff, but for this example, I'm not going to. So that's perfect. And now we want to test this out and make sure that it works for subsequent use cases. So now let's say optimizeis schedules a second call. And so same person, Ben Green from optimizeis, they add a second call in here. So they're going to add it. Zapier is going to go add a new contact, a new account, and a new opportunity. So to test that really easy, I can just come in here and test out new company creation. And what I'm going to be looking for is this Zap data was found. So the first time it couldn't find a company, so it created a company. Now if I retest this, it's going to say Zap data was found was true, so it did not create a new company. The same thing for contact creation. If I come in here and look, this says Zap data was found was false, so it chose to create a company the first time, but now it's created that, created that contact with ben at optimizeis.com. So let's retest that. And so Zap data was found was true. And now I'm going to rename this, create an opportunity. If we now test this, which again, Zap data was found was false. Zap data was found was true, so it didn't create a bunch of duplicates. So you can see there's just one optimizeis here. There's just one optimizeis on the accounts. And there's just one optimizeis on the contacts. So now what I want to do is I want to show you, let's say that this opportunity was 1. So now there's an active account at optimizeis. And so let's go retest, not the first two because those would show up the same. We didn't change anything with the accounts or contacts. But let's go try to create a new opportunity and then see what happens, see if it works for us. So now it's going to go search within that view for optimizeis, and it's going to say Zap data was found as false. So now there's another one, optimizeis 117, And if we go to, let's go to group by owner, and let's just take this off, and let's say where the account, filter this to say optimizeis. So now you can see there's these two, and it created the second one because there weren't any that were a pending like deal flow. So that's pretty much it as far as how I would integrate Calendly. This is probably the most advanced that I would ever do it. The only caveat is I sometimes add locations if it's more of a local in-person business. But here new invitee was created in Calendly. The filter to make sure that it's the right event type or the right slug for us. Go create a company, go create a contact, and then go create an opportunity. And also occasionally what I would do is I would add updates in here. So you'll notice if it finds something in Airtable, it's not going to overwrite it. It's not going to update it. But a lot of times you might want that to happen. So you would just want to add in whether you want to update the company with information, update the contact with information, or update the opportunity. If it finds one with information, you would add those after finding and creating them. The last thing to do up here is to turn it on. And as I had mentioned a little bit ago, the only thing that I would recommend you doing after this is in the end screen. Here's a video to go look at how you can do some automated reporting systems in Airtable. So especially for sales teams, especially for CRMs, I highly encourage you to leverage like all the date fields and all of the data that you're pulling into Airtable and create some reporting out of it. Give your team insights to make better decisions and see what you should be doing in your marketing, what you should be doing in your sales process, seeing what's worked, who's doing well, who's not doing well. It's going to take your business to the next level. So I encourage you to go hit the video. It's right there in the end screen, and you can learn all about automated reporting and really harnessing your numbers in Airtable. So I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in that video right there in the end screen.